So Tony wanted me to talk about the bike, the Ninja 1000 that I'm riding. So I'll do that. I'll try to do that at least. Well. It's a great bike. I'll just say that. It's fantastic. No problems at all. Actually, there is a small problem, and it's super small. And I'll get that out of the way right now since I'm on the topic. But oh, here's the bridge. If you guys don't want to see that, this is gonna be cool. I'm gonna focus on that real fast. Enjoy that moment. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh yeah, so the little tiny problem. The throttle on this bike is just a little twitchy. It's a little bit twitchy. It's not a super smooth delivery, I would say. It's kind of twitchy. This could be a fix though with like an ECU reflash. You could totally change that. It's kind of expensive to do, but you could totally get that smoothed out, and a bunch of other improvements as well with the ECU reflash. But yeah, that's the one thing. That's probably the only thing that's bad about this bike. It's not bad either. It's not bad at all. It's just a little bit twitchier than I am used to. I mean, I came from a KLR 650, so there's that. A lot of good things though. It has oodles of power, and the engine is just fantastic. It has a pretty good power band as far as I can tell. It starts at about maybe $4 grand and goes all the way up to 11 grand or so. Oodles and oodles of power, just great amounts of power. It's a 140 horsepower engine, so it's pretty insane. And that's probably the best, one of the best things about this bike is its power plant. It creates a lot of power, and that's good for touring. And this is kind of what this is built for. It's built for sport touring. The wind protection is also good. I would say the windscreen being adjustable and being the height it's at, I think it's perfect. I don't think I would change the windscreen at all. I don't really like taller windscreens, especially for like a sport touring like this. But the windscreen is good. I don't have any problems with it. It delivers pretty clean air to my helmet. The air arrives at my helmet about chin height, or a little bit above chin height. Oh my god, look at this. Just stunning. Stunning view. But yeah, the windshield, the wind protection, the weather protection is pretty good. Like, this bike is pretty wide in terms of sport bikes. I sat on a Super Sport not too long ago, and those things are pretty thin. And that makes sense. It's for racing basically. So this sport touring, it's very wide in the front to offer that weather protection. And so I would say that's a positive for sure. The ergonomics, and I love the integrated saddlebags too. I have, as you saw earlier, I have hard bags that are integrated, and they don't need racks or anything like that. The racks are kind of already built into the subframe, and they just click in, and they're very easy to take off and on, and they're waterproof. I mean, they're a little expensive. They're about $1,000, and I bought that with the bike. So I think they're worth it, but they are pricey. And let's talk about the price of this bike too. I think the value itself is actually pretty good. I think if I remember correctly, I think it's like $13,000 bike. I think it's like $12,000 or so. You guys can look it up. And just for what you're getting, I think you get a good amount of bike for the amount of price. The only thing that's lacking on this motorcycle, besides the smooth throttle, it is, like I said, the throttle thing is very small of a problem. But the other, what I'd like to see in addition is a cruise control, like a proper cruise control. I mean, for being a sport touring, this does not have cruise control, and that's kind of upsetting. It's kind of a bummer. It does have a lot of other electronics aids. It has like cornering ABS, and something else. I think it's like a traction control type. Yeah, it's like a traction control. You could set it to different levels of traction control. I get about, I think, around 42 miles per gallon or so, which I think is fine. And other than that, it's been great. It runs well. I've been loving it so far. I ride in the heat, and quite hot heat in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's like 110 sometimes. And I don't think I've actually ridden 110, but I've ridden in hot temperatures, like 100 degrees or more. And this thing stays cool. It's water cooled, so it stays just fine, just cool. It gets, you know, it's a big 4-cylinder engine, so it does put off some heat, of course, but that's not a problem. I would say it's not a problem at all. The mirrors are good. I can actually see stuff out of the mirrors, contrary to, or as opposed to other sport bikes. And the mirrors don't vibrate. Like, there's a lot to enjoy about this motorcycle. So to recap, I would say the negatives are the throttle. The throttle's not as smooth as I'd like, and there's no cruise control. I think those are the things that I would kind of give a negative to. Positives, I would say engine, power, and hang on, a little shoulder driving here. I would say engine, power. That's kind of redundant. The ergonomics, the wind protection, the windscreen, the mirrors, the bags. The bags are great, as I've said before. The seat, I would say the stock seat is not great. I would say after 100 miles you're going to be hurting. So I actually upgraded the seat to a Sargent seat. And I've had Sargent seats before. I had a Sargent on my KLR. I've ridden that for a long time. And boy, that thing was like an armchair to ride, especially compared to this. That KLR was really comfortable. So I got a Sargent again, and this Sargent seat's pretty good too, but I still get, like, you know, I'll start hurting after maybe, what, 200 miles, 150 miles maybe, depends on the day. So I think it was definitely an improvement over the stock seat. So I'd say the stock seat's not amazing, but it does the job for sure. It's not bad. It's not bad, I would say. And let's see, what else can I talk about? I think that's basically it. The handling is interesting because it's not as nimble as a dual sport or a full-on sport bike, but it's more touring worthy than those bikes. So there's a trade-off, and the handling kind of is sacrificed a little bit. It's not as, like I said, it's not as nimble. It's not as, like, it's kind of a heavier. It's not too heavy of a motorcycle. I think it's 500 pounds or so, but it's not light by any means. It's not like a small bike. This is a 1000cc motorcycle, so it's gonna be kind of a bigger bike-ish. Wow, look at that. This place is incredible. So yeah, that's the Ninja 1000. Someone's private home. That's insane. That's just too cool. Having your private home on the Pacific Coast Highway, that's, first of all, you gotta have some money, that's for sure. But second of all, that's just a, now that's a dream come true. Man, you could just smell the ocean. You could just, it smells like the ocean. It smells like fish almost. In certain spots, it smells very strong of the ocean. And then other spots, it's very fresh. It doesn't smell fishy, it smells very fresh. Which is great, because I'm used to big cities, and big cities smell bad.